Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Tues Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes you the person who has been struggling over the last 4 to 5 days to try and get their cats to take their meds. It is impossible to feed a cat anything they don't want to eat, isn't it? Pray for mojo. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other to thank than, and you know what? The drum pits have had a bit of an upgrade now because they are kazoo formed. Matthew Wall for their suggestion of new game plus modes that changed absolutely everything. Now, we've actually done this list before. Shock horror, I know. We've done every list ever at least 3 times. So I'm back with 8 more New Game Plus modes that change everything today. So Matthew, I hope that you will accept my kind offering to you, my humble offering. Now, this is the thing. When it comes to video games, sometimes they can be so good that we just don't want to say goodbye to them, be it because they've got amazing characters, fantastic stories, or the action is just so good it keeps us locked in for the long term. So it's always quite nice to find when developers have actually not only given you the option to carry forward into New Game Plus, but have changed enough stuff to make the experience feel fresh and new, basically giving you double the amount of content for your buck. That's always good, and that's what we're here to celebrate today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 more New Game Plus modes that change everything. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat and put suggestions for next week's episode down in the comments section below. With that in mind, let's get on with this list, shall we? Number 8, the Castlevania franchise. I tell you this for nothing, James. When it comes to New Game Plus modes, there is nobody who loves to mess around with crazy shenanigans more than the Castlevania franchise. Sorry, by the way, I hope that I didn't actually just kill you just then. In Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, the player would be rewarded with an extremely tough new difficulty mode, which, when placed on the almighty bloody stake that was the original experience, made for a Béarnaise sauce comprising of your own salty tears. In Symphony of the Night, players would unlock a new playthrough that contained multiple game-breaking items, turning the experience into something of a meme run for many fans as they spammed unlimited throwable items with the duplicator, or buffed themselves up to the nines with the massive stat boost provided by the Ring of Vada. However, the true cherry on the New Game Plus cake came in the form of Circle of the Moon, which not only allowed you to go through and play with all of your different items that you'd unlocked before, but actually gave you different modes based on classes that you could go through and give yourself certain challenges. You had like the option of the Fighter, the Magician, Shooter, and Thief, which change your stats and item loadouts, meaning that you can play with late level weapons and spells right out of the gate, but usually with some significant drawbacks as well. This made for a truly refreshing experience because even when you felt like you just mastered the game, it came along and said, hey, whoa, how about playing like this? And I'm all about that. Number 7, The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons. While you might expect that the Zelda portion of this list to be taken up by talking about the Master Quest, which obviously does change dungeon layouts and enemy spawn locations as well as items, and has been included in multiple Legend of Zelda video games, today we're going to be talking about something a little different, a little less covered, and also something entirely strange. That's right, we're talking about the weird back and forth timey-wimey shenanigans that came in the form of Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. You see, here, after completing one of the games, you would receive a code which you could then put into the other game at the beginning to start that adventure with an extra heart piece, as well as opening up a ton of new dialogue with characters in that game who would give you yet more codes to be used in the first game. Ow, my brain. Yeah, it's all a bit twisty-turny, isn't it? However, the long and short of it was that by bouncing back and forth between the games, you could unlock new areas, quests, and secrets, and even a brand new final boss in the second game you played, which acts as a culmination to both stories. Again, ow my brain. It may have taken you an age and made you feel like a seasoned veteran. God, these jokes are terrible, but this pair of games truly made for a fresh experience to fans of the series. Good stuff. Number 6, completely new enemy spawns, Dark Souls 2. So Dark Souls 2 might not be everybody's cup of very, very salty tea, but no matter what you thought about its bullshit hitboxes and near 360-degree enemy tracking, there is one thing that you cannot accuse From Software of doing with this game, and that is phoning it in when it came to New Game Plus content, because they didn't just shake up the formula, they throttled the life out of it. You see, because Dark Souls and Demon's Souls conditioned the player to expect expect a monstrous boost in damage dealt and health of enemies, they expected the same of Dark Souls 2, which is exactly where FromSoft sprung its rather malicious trap, as here, alongside the enemy buffs, the devs had reworked nearly all enemy placement and even switched up locations of certain items. From the very off, players were assaulted by bird-throwing enemies, and there's new hidey knights dotted around previously empty sections, and there are a ton of new invader NPCs looking to make your life a bloody nightmare. It is delicious to see how much effort went into the New Game Plus mode of this game, and definitely carried forward the FromSoft mantra of F you and the rest of your life, which is going to be very short, because our games are really hard. And in this one, quite unfair and bull. I'm just saying, Dark Souls 2, lowest on my list. Number 5, Persona 5. So in case you hadn't heard, Persona 5 is a bit of a long game. In fact, I'm pretty sure Homer's Odyssey is a more compact tale than this weaving narrative of friendship, mind thievery, and love. Hearts everywhere. But with the recent Royale edition pushing the playtime to well up over the 100+ hour mark, looking at a second playthrough might be well too much for many players. However, for those that decide to take that second trip around this beautifully brilliant sun, they will find not only a smattering of changes afforded to the player thanks to their upgraded social stats, but also some huge changes to how you choose to play the game itself. Thanks to the rather pressured time-centric gameplay, it can sometimes feel like you're picking one or two paths and then just sticking with them through to the end, especially when it comes to maxing out bonds with other characters. But here, on a second playthrough, well, you can experiment with other characters, unlock new dialogue and cutscenes, and experience the game in a truly different way despite retreading the same main narrative. Thankfully, Persona 5 is so utterly charming that another 100+ hour run doesn't feel like a huge waste of time, which is something that many games would only ever dream of. Number 4, Kirbys Dreamland. Now yes, technically you can use a cheat code straight away to unlock this game's version of a New Game Plus, or Extra Mode as it's known, but come on, why are you trying to cheat yourself out of a good time with Kirby? Come on, my friends, let's go through the honourable path and let the game tell you what the code is once you've completed the game. Yeah. Plus, to be honest, if you jumped the gun and put in the code with your grubby little paws after hearing the big boys at school talk about it in between claiming that Alkaline Trio is the best band ever, they're not, you were going to be in for a world of hurt because, and I can't believe I'm going to say this is the hardest challenge that Kirby has ever given players. Yeah, I can't believe it. A hard Kirby game. I have seen it all. Though to be fair, the only thing I was seeing again and again on this mode was the bloody game over screen. As with every single enemy being replaced with harder or later game versions, even the first level is a bloody meat grinder. Add to this the fact that all the bosses have been reworked with attacks that home in, cover huge areas of the screen, and rinse your health. And suddenly even Wispy Woods, the first boss of the game, is feeling less like a dopey little twig and more like a cricket bat to your shins. Ow. Number 3, Eternal Darkness. Oh, Eternal Darkness. Yes, we're talking about this game again. And of course, it had a very weird approach to New Game Plus content because, well, it had a pretty weird approach to every other video game trope going. Alongside all of the visual and gameplay twisting effects that this game implements to an expert degree, Eternal Darkness also hides its true ending behind 3 full completions of the main game. However, it's not as simple as just blasting through the title over and over, as the true ending can only be unlocked if you chose to commit to one of the 3 in-game alignments fully in each playthrough, each of which changes how the game plays and how your character approaches combat. Therefore, despite you going through the same story beats, you're doing so in completely different ways, escalating the challenge each time as you push further and further down a single path. It is a great way of rewarding committed players and offering them a fresh experience each and every time. I tell you, when it comes to Eternal Darkness, they are truly the masters of messing with people's minds, and you got to be pretty smart to do that. And this was very smart indeed. Number 2, the Dark Parable series. Now, the Dark Parable series of games are titles that focus on kind of mystery, folklore, puzzle solving, and they are really, really charming. If you've not played them before, there's some really good games in their quite surprisingly large library that they've got. But this is the thing, when it comes down to actually getting through them, there's enough brain-bending puzzles that are going on that you might be exhausted just trying to complete the game once. But should you complete it again and go for the super extra secrets? Yes. So get those brain cells working, my friend. Because completing the central quest in many of these titles actually opens up a brand new mystery to solve, taking the form of an epilogue which adds in hours and hours of extra content, as well as even more brain cell stimulation. Yet because the games themselves resemble a puzzle box of interlocking trials, of course there's a super secret reward for completing the already secret content. Coming in the form of different special items and keys, the player will now be able to go through once more go through the game, but use said items to unlock doors and locations previously unavailable to them. These will contain numerous and sometimes humorous interactions with characters, plus even more secret challenges, as well as concept art and other rewards for those that have persevered and likely pulled all their hair out trying to solve these devious puzzles. For example, I had a mullet before starting these games way back way, and now look at me. Well, I guess you can't because I'm wearing a hat indoors. My razor broke, so I've kind of just got that horrible peach fuzz thing going on. Nasty. And number 1, Eternal Sonata. So, James, you like music, I think. Do you play an instrument? Is it the harpsichord? Don't even tell me what it is. You've heard of Eternal Sonata, right? Because it's a video game about music.
Nope, never heard of it.
Now, at the count of 3, we're going to say one word that sums this up, all right? 3, 2, 1, bonkers.
Wacky.
Yeah. The plot alone is enough to make one's head spin, centering on Frédéric Chopin, who is dying of tuberculosis, as he did in real life, and the player delving into a fever dream comprising of his last gasps for life. Within this crumbling world, players meet different aspects of his music, which have taken on human form to help Chopin make sense of what little of his senses are left. And while the plot swings wildly into the insane and nonsensical from time to time, it is a brilliant experience through and through. It was also a deeply moving moment to say goodbye to Chopin's new friends as he himself passed on into the unknown, leaving many to lament what would actually happen to the creations without their creator. Well, luckily for you, Encore mode acts as a kind of last hurrah for the group, as here you're not only able to take part in new side quests via portals that lead to areas you normally couldn't return to, but with the Hero's Crest item now in your possession, you're now able to reach the Mysterious Union, a previously locked dungeon which contains the hardest battles and the best rewards. One of which, the Party Level 6 upgrade, even changes how the game itself plays, removing the tactical time, meaning that you've got no time to plan your attacks, while also allowing for 6 harmony chains to be built, which is this title's version of combo chains. This means that you're now thrust into frantic battles, but are also able to dish out monstrous damage to enemies, meaning that come the end of Encore mode, you will be singing your own symphony of destruction. Megadeth, what a band, eh? And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 more New Game Plus modes that change. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, and you can follow James at JamesDowZ with an extra E over on Twitter as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope that you're doing well, my friend. Bing, bang, bing, bing, bing. Hope you're doing well. Treat yourself with love and respect, because you deserve all the best things in life, and don't let anyone or anything else tell you otherwise, alright? We discussed today about New Game Plus content that changed everything, and you might feel that you are running the well-worn path of your life, but trust me, you can always be better, you can always be kinder, you can always grow spiritually, mentally, physically as a human being. And all I want you to do is live a healthy and happy life. So go out there with love in your heart, make sure that you're trying to build bridges instead of burning them, and treat everyone with that same love and respect that you yourself deserve, alright? You are a big ledge. Now do the thing that I always say and can't smash it. I don't know why I was going to not say it this time, but there we go. Big love to you, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.